gangs. KLTC requires it. Goes up to me, we do a whole week of it, but we're going to do a little over 2 hours of it, kind of an abbreviated version. This is actually part of a 3-day class that I teach. We're going to hit all the high notes. We're going to cover your basic street gangs, the influences they get from outside of Kansas, which here, because we're kind of considered the bullseye of America, we have a lot of influence from West Coast gangs, specifically West Coast gangs, and Chicago-based gangs are gangs from the state of Illinois. Some East Coast gangs from New York, but primarily West Coast and Chicago gangs is what we have. So I've traveled around the country, visited a lot of different agencies. I've done ride-alongs, a lot of different agencies, LA, Baltimore, New York, New Jersey. We'll get to how I ended up in some of those places in my career. And what we find out is that one of the things different with here in this part of the country, in our region, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, Nebraska, is that we get virtually all gangs. All gangs migrate here to our part of the country because typically they think that law enforcement here is less sophisticated. They look at our region as, quote unquote, the farming industry, agricultural, so they think that law enforcement here, in their mind, the stereotypes they have of us are, kind of that Andy Griffith, Mayberry, Raw Ride, John Deere type. Really, they do. Because I travel around the country, like for example, I was in San Jose back in 2015, and I was there teaching a class on Sureños y Norteño gangs, Nuestra Familia, prison-based gangs, and I was talking about Vice Lords, People Nation, Black Keystone Rangers, some of the gangs that are prominent here in the Midwest. And the California law enforcement officers that I was teaching, which were DEA, CHP, and San Jose PD, were just enamored by those gangs. They'd never heard of these gangs because their gangs that they have there are primarily, have been there like since the early 1900s. They go back multi-generational. We get all the gangs. We get their gangs and we get Chicago gangs. So in a sense, we actually have, I believe, more training, and we actually have a little bit of everything. So we're like the salad bowl of all these groups. So you guys are going to get, when you guys go out into the streets and start working these groups, you're going to have, if you pay attention today, you're going to see a lot of the courses that I teach tie in a lot of the tactics that we talk about in officer survival, specifically with contact cover, how that stuff becomes absolutely critical dealing with individuals that are involved in this lifestyle, okay? So what we're going to do today is give you basic understanding of the subculture of the gangs in Kansas. Now, one of the things unique to our gang issues in our state is that they don't always fit in that pretty little package that you might see in some of your more, some of your bigger jurisdictions like Los Angeles or Chicago. Our gangs are, for lack of a better term, bastardized. The reason I use that term is because you'll have white membership, for example, in predominantly black gangs. So you have, say, folk nation gangs or Crip gangs, which are predominantly African American. Here in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, this is where I contradict myself. You'll have white membership or even Hispanic membership. So even though you have more gangs and more variety of gangs, they don't fit the traditional lines. You would never see that, say, in Los Angeles. You never, very rarely would you see the acceptance of an outside, someone from an outside race. Those gangs have been there 4, 5, 6 generations, and they have a campaign they actually instituted there called racial cleansing, where the Mexican mafia has ordered in the specific neighborhoods there will be no outsiders. Unless you're Mexican American or Mexican national, no blacks or whites allowed in those neighborhoods. So they're very, very strict on the racial lines. And it's primarily because that's dictated from the prison system, because in the prison system, it's a racially charged environment. So throughout this training, when I talk, I may talk in terms of always, or this is how it is. Be open-minded in gangs, because in the gang subculture, things are always changing.